Have you ever truly considered how a singular nomadic force once managed to fundamentally reshape the entire geopolitical landscape of the 13th century forever? This extraordinary chapter represents the 79th monumental event within our prestigious series documenting the world's top 100 historical milestones. Our investigation follows a rigorous 9-stage academic structure, beginning with the environmental factors that forged the most formidable warriors in human history. Let us now journey deep into the vast Mongolian steppes to understand the social and historical context of this unstoppable and legendary global expansion. The story officially commences here, presented as a definitive account of the most expansive, contiguous land empire ever recorded by modern scholars. The regional history of the Mongolian plateau is defined by extreme climatic conditions that demanded exceptional physical and mental resilience from all inhabitants. Mongolian geography consisted of high-altitude grasslands and rugged mountain ranges that fostered a culture of endurance and strategic mobility across the landscape. Every geographical feature contributed to the tactical advantages that the Mongols would eventually utilize during their unstoppable global campaigns. Temperature fluctuations within this region were notoriously severe, demanding a level of physical resilience unknown to sedentary agricultural societies. These environmental challenges played a decisive role in fostering a culture of absolute survival among the disparate tribes inhabiting the plateau for centuries. We observe the vast emptiness of the Gobi Desert and the lushness of the Orkhon Valley as contrasting environments that shaped nomadic life. Historical evidence suggests that the availability of grazing land dictated the seasonal migrations and the strategic alliances formed between various kinship groups. The harshness of the environment served as a primary filter, selecting for those who possessed superior logistical planning and individual toughness. Nomadic tribes had to adapt to a life on the move, carrying their homes and livelihoods with them as they followed the cycles of the seasons. This constant movement fostered a society that was inherently mobile, adaptable, and prepared for the rigors of long-distance travel and warfare. The characteristics of these people were rooted in their absolute mastery of equestrian skills and composite bow archery from a very young age. Socially, the tribes were organized into complex networks of kinship and clan loyalty that required a unifying leader to resolve internal conflicts. Political authority was frequently contested, requiring a leader of exceptional charisma and strategic vision to unite the fragmented groups. Archery served as both a means of survival and a devastating weapon of war, perfected through centuries of nomadic competition across the plains. These social structures provided the foundation for a centralized military organization that would soon dominate the Eurasian landmass entirely. The bond between the Mongolian warrior and their pony was a unique cultural trait that allowed for unprecedented speed and maneuverability in battle. Within the yurt settlements, the division of labor and the importance of hospitality formed the ethical core of their nomadic existence. Clan leaders, or khans, exercised authority based on their ability to provide protection and wealth to their followers through strategic raids and trade. Loyalty was often secured through the distribution of spoils and the promise of collective security in an unforgiving environment. We witnessed the development of complex marriage alliances and blood brotherhoods that served as the glue holding disparate clans together. Every military campaign was supported by meticulous logistical planning and an intelligence network that spanned thousands of miles across diverse territories. The newly unified Mongol nation was now prepared to turn its collective energy outward, initiating a series of conquests that would change the world forever. Every decision made during this period was a calculated step towards creating a sustainable and expansive imperial structure that could withstand external pressure. The rise of Temujin began with personal tragedy and betrayal, leading him to forge new alliances and eventually receive the title of Genghis Khan in 1206. This unification necessitated the implementation of the Yasa, a rigorous legal code designed to maintain order across the newly unified and diverse tribes. Every military campaign was supported by meticulous logistical planning, and an intelligence network that spanned thousands of miles across different territories. We must examine the specific data points that allowed a fragmented nomadic society to transform into a highly organized and lethal fighting machine. The Great Kurultai of 1206 served as the definitive turning point, establishing a centralized authority that had never existed before on the steppe. Genghis Khan introduced a decimal system for military organization, breaking down traditional tribal loyalties in favor of a merit-based hierarchy. This radical reform ensured that positions of command were earned through demonstrated ability rather than through hereditary privilege or ethnic background. The creation of the Kashig, an elite imperial bodyguard, further solidified the central power and provided a training ground for future administrative leaders. As we analyze the historical records, the sheer speed of this social and political restructuring remains one of the most impressive feats in world history. The newly unified Mongol nation was now prepared to turn its collective energy outward, initiating a series of conquests that would change the world forever. Every decision made during this period was a calculated step towards creating a sustainable and expansive imperial structure that could withstand external pressure. Statistical data indicates that their mobilization speed was roughly 3 times faster than any contemporary sedentary army of that specific period. Their psychological warfare tactics often induced surrender before a single arrow was ever fired, preserving Mongol resources for more difficult targets. The feigned retreat was a maneuver they executed with lethal precision. In 1209, the Mongols launched their first major foreign invasion against the Western Xia, demonstrating their growing tactical sophistication. The subsequent conquest of the Jin dynasty showcased their ability to adapt to urban siege warfare, a skill previously foreign to them. The Khwarezmian Empire fell in 1221, opening the gateway to the Middle East and the lucrative Silk Road routes. Archaeological evidence suggests that the influx of foreign artisans and scholars led to a unique cultural synthesis in the Mongol capital. Detailed accounts from travelers like Marco Polo provide vivid descriptions of the sophisticated governance and vibrant markets under Mongol administration. The legacy of their legal and administrative structures can still be traced in the foundations of several modern nation-states today. During this expansion, the Pax Mongolica emerged, fostering an environment where ideas, religions, and technologies could traverse Eurasia with relative safety. The introduction of the paisa, a metal tablet acting as a passport, ensured the safety of travelers and merchants throughout the Khanates. Economic stability was maintained through a standardized currency system and the protection of trade routes against bandits and local warlords. The scale of their achievement required a level of organizational sophistication that challenged contemporary notions of nomadic society. Their judicial system, the Yasa, provided a framework for governance that transcended tribal boundaries and religious differences. Religious tolerance was a hallmark of Mongol rule, allowing diverse faiths to coexist and even flourish under the protection of the great Khans. Administrative reforms included the Yam postal system, which utilized relay stations to deliver messages across the empire in record-breaking time. This innovation allowed the central command to maintain control over vastly dispersed armies and regional governors. The speed of information was as critical to their success as the speed of their cavalry on the battlefield. The Mongols facilitated a level of global connectivity that would not be surpassed until the age of maritime exploration centuries later. They encouraged the movement of experts in fields ranging from astronomy to medicine, creating a truly international intellectual community within their borders. The transmission of knowledge during this period laid the groundwork for future scientific and cultural revolutions across the globe. We witnessed the blending of Persian, Chinese, and European influences in the arts, architecture, and sciences of the Mongol successor states. The empire eventually divided into 4 major Khanates, each maintaining a degree of connectivity while pursuing independent regional objectives and goals. Even after the political fragmentation of the empire, the cultural and economic bonds established during the Mongol era continued to influence Eurasian development. we see the echoes of their administrative genius in the bureaucratic systems of the Ming dynasty, the Mughal Empire, and the Russian state. The story of the Mongol Empire is not merely one of conquest, but of the creation of a new world order that bridged East and West. As we conclude this extensive investigation into the 79th event, the immense legacy of the Mongol Empire remains a cornerstone of history. Their unprecedented unification of the world's most populous regions fundamentally shifted the trajectory of global development and international relations for many centuries. We hope this detailed account has provided you with a deep appreciation for the complex forces that once united the entire world together. Thank you for your dedicated attention to this historical documentary. Please support our channel by subscribing and liking. 구독과 좋아요를 눌러주세요. 감사합니다.